Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Katy Sissine Show. I'm Katy Sissine, as always, addressing the indoctrination of the nation. Now, it's been a great week. We've had some very productive conversation and debate. We've got another caller on the line right now, just awaiting the madness to talk about the Berkeley Protests. I don't know what his viewpoints are on this. I really am curious to know, but anyway, let me give a quick review of the week and what we're about to discuss here at hand. We discussed cabinet approvals, White House keeping news and updates. We discussed new executive orders put forth, especially the new immigration order that sparked many protests and debate. And we also discussed the rates of terrorism and how they are increasing globally, and global attacks are increasing globally and also in the West. And we are going to get on to talking about what actually happened. We've explained to Milo, if you didn't tune in for the last episode, on the last episode we explained to Breitbart editor, right-wing commentator, Milo Yiannopoulos is. And Milo Yiannopoulos, he was to be the speaker to speak about cultural appropriation at the UC Berkeley campus last week. Now, obviously, as we all know, violent protests erupted, and before I get the speaker on the line, I want to go over exactly what happened at those protests, because it was a lot of crazy stuff. A man pepper sprayed a girl for being a Trump supporter while she was being interviewed. Another person was also attacked while being interviewed. Someone was recorded being beaten on the street. They stopped traffic and harassed drivers. They burned the flag, maybe several. And when I'm saying they, I'm not saying one group. It could have been protesters of the left. It could have been people on the right who were being a little troublesome also. It could have been, all the Black Bloc. But from what the footage shows, it was a mix of everyone, and they looked like they were against Milo. Now, I did see Trump supporters in the mix, but the only two that I saw up close and personal were the ones giving interviews, and that's the only time I saw the Trump supporters up close and personal anyway. So they also burned the flag. And they actually stopped the speaker, Milo, from being able to speak with this fire they started. And that fire is where they burned a flag. As far as I know, only one, but maybe more, which is disgraceful to the nation for those of us who believe in our nation and that we should stick together. United we stand, divided we fall. And so they did that, and then the whole crowd started to cheer. And this wasn't just the Black Bloc, because the Black Bloc wears all black. You can see that all the protesters were there cheering, or a lot of them were there cheering and taking pictures of the fire like it was some kind of amazing spectacle. And what it was, well, dare I say it? I just won't say the word, but we all know what it was. They broke windows, of course. They pushed down a light pole and started a fire. And that's what I just explained, where they burned the flag. They even destructed a Starbucks, so they all had to make their own coffee at home the next morning. Oh, what a bummer. They broke into banks, and the list goes on. They caused $100,000 worth of damage. Now, I would like to bring my caller on the line.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good, and you?
I'm doing well. So, what do you think about the protests that went on, Jesus? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it was that the destruction is justified? The $100,000 of destruction was justified? Do you feel that, I don't know if you know this, but no arrests were made, and there were, there was vandalizing going on, and there were illegal things going on, and no one was really punished. I heard there was only one arrest. What do you think about that? What do you think about the protests in general?
Okay, well, before we get onto the debate, I'm going to bring two key points that I feel like we both will agree on, which it might sound surprising to you, coming, me being a pretty, hard-on liberal, and it seems like you're very conservative nowadays.
Right, I am more so conservative.
Okay,
nowadays, very funny. If you've been listening to my show from the beginning, you know that I've been a conservative for most of my life.
Anywho, I'm going to bring 2 points that I think you will agree on, regardless of your political beliefs. Number one, it seems like this guy is a political troll. He's actually been banned for life from Twitter for saying just outrageous claims, which are not even borderline, but very outright racist. Now, I'm pretty sure we can both agree on that. I mean, it was a ballsy move to just go to an extremely liberal campus, having said very hurtful things about minorities and about a lot of the population of the United States. The second point that I think we will both agree on is that in no way, shape, or fashion do I think do I approve of riots. This is actually against everything that progressives stand for, and violence is in no way justified. I think this is actually horrible. Peaceful protest should be the only way to get a point across, and to be hand in hand with the police, and not cause them trouble nor cause damages to the communities. So I think all that happened was actually pretty horrible. However, I must say that the media misportrayed what actually happened. What actually happened was Berkeley students were having a very peaceful protest on campus for many hours, long before this unidentified group wearing all black and black masks came to the peaceful protest and started damaging the campus and breaking property, which I am 110% against. I do not condemn of any of that. And
you're talking about the Black Bloc.
That group has not been identified. So
they have been identified as the Black Bloc by the university. The university declared it.
They have not been.
The university declared it. The university released a statement.
Whichever group it is that caused all this violence and damage to the campus has actually hurt the cause, and it only gives the conservatives even more of a reason to oppose liberal causes. So whoever that is actually did not have the best interests of liberals in mind, and I actually hate that happened.
Well, what it became was let's just say it was anti-Milo, because we don't know if it was anti-Trump. We don't know if it was, go Hillary, or it wasn't any of that. What it was anti this guy. It was anti-Milo. And yes, we do agree on the fact that protests should not be violent. But what I got to point out to you is some facts. Here. So we were talking about the blame. Now, we were saying that it was, they were blaming an unidentified group. Now, the university publicly blamed the chaos on the Black Bloc.
No. What I think let me talk. This guy was looking for trouble.
On the Black Bloc, a group associated with anarchy, the Black Bloc covers themselves in black to conceal their identities during their quote-unquote performances of going around and destroying things for some cause that's really obviously not doing anything productive, but merely counterproductive and destructive. So the reason that I know that the Black Bloc wasn't to fully blame for this, for the violence in this protest at Berkeley, was because when the fire was burning, after things got violent and after this group showed up, everybody stayed and everybody watched the fire burn and everybody cheered, at least the people who were in that crowd. And I can tell you for a fact that people were in that crowd. Can you hear me?
Were you there?
I watched it. It was on CNN.
Were you there, though?
Obviously not. But I watched it on CNN, and you could see people in the crowd. You could see up-close footage taken by people who were in the protest, and people cheering while they were burning a flag. Do you think it's okay to burn a flag?
Who is to say that was all students? And that is your liberty of rights. That's freedom of speech right there. I'm not condemning it, but I am saying that is freedom of speech. You can burn a flag. I can burn a flag if I feel like it, because that's freedom of speech. So.
Well, why don't they just leave the country if that's how they feel?
That is freedom of speech. Stop attacking the Constitution.
But it was MILO'S freedom of speech. It was MILO'S freedom of speech.
About the Constitution, then stop attacking freedom of speech. If people feel like burning flags, then they should, because that's freedom of speech.
If you value freedom of speech so much, then why don't you sit there and tell me that they shouldn't have protested MILO'S speech, because he has the right to speak at the university. That's his
And they
freedom
have
of
the
speech.
freedom to protest his speech.
Not in the way that they did. Not in the way that they did. The way that it took place was absolutely inappropriate. And if you watch the protests from the daytime, obviously before the Black Bloc got there and other anonymous groups, then, and even Anonymous condemns the Black Bloc, and we know the Black Bloc was there, but also the protesters who were already there contributed with them. But anyway, the protests are taking place during the daytime, peaceful granted from what I saw, but they did get a little edgy, they did get a little inappropriate. One girl took off her shirt, was prancing around with her bra and like booty shorts on, and was like, you know, just mocking a religious person that was there trying to support, you know, Jesus and spread the word for Jesus. Which is obviously associated with being a conservative, as we know, religious beliefs, maintaining the Constitution, that this is a nation under God, maintaining traditions and values. That's a, you know, that is a religious thing. And we had...
That's funny. That's actually funny that you say that. So, I mean, being openly
What's funny about it?
Being openly religious is all good and dandy until it's a Muslim, right? Then
I never said that. No, unless you're part of a terrorist organization and you're telling me that if you don't become a Muslim, I'm going to shoot you in the head. That's where they cross the line, Jesus, and that's what they're doing.
I mean, very, very few hours ago, you were for a Muslim ban, and now you're talking about, you know, being open arms to any type of religion. I mean, this is the same president that's persecuting a specific religious group.
I don't condemn Muslims. I condemn letting them enter the
whole...
country during a religious war without proper vetting. Anyway, we're out of time. I got to let you go, Jesus. I hope you listen in and listen to the facts. Thank you. Bye. Anyway, he's always up for an argument. Stay tuned for part 2 of this segment. I'm looking forward to sharing more facts with you about the protest. And remember to follow me at Katy FYNTV, and I'll be right back with you after these brief commercials.
It's a new year. New you at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. Ring in the new year with huge deals on a brand new Ford. Right now, get exceptional offers like 0% financing plus a $1,500 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford F-150 XLT. Or get 0% financing plus a $1,000 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford Explorer. Make your resolution a reality during the New Year, New You sales event at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper, home of the Schottenkirk Customer Guarantee. Visit us online at SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
El Rey in Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in Ellijay.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hello, welcome back to the Katy Sissine Show, addressing the indoctrination of the nation. I'm Katy Sissine, and we left off the last segment with a debate about the protest at UC Berkeley. Now, we all know that the protest got violent. What I was debating about with the man that I interviewed, Jesus from Kennesaw State University, is that the protesters that were there, he claims that they were innocent and that it was the fault of anarchist groups that caused all the turmoil. And I told him about the Black Bloc, which is the group that the university publicly blamed for the chaos. They, and essentially claiming that their protesters and their students that were there and the protesters for the left were innocent, but it was the anarchist groups that were at fault, who will remain unidentifiable because the Black Bloc, the group that the university blamed, covers themselves in all black with hats, ski masks, etc., in order to not be identified. So what the question is, now that we've discussed what happened and who the speaker was, Milo, and now that we've discussed the debates and the debate and the damage that was done, and someone that agreed with me and someone that disagreed with me, who's to blame? Who do we blame here? Well, the university, like I said, blame the chaos on the Black Bloc associated with anarchy. Like I said, they conceal themselves to keep themselves from being prosecuted. They're running, shouting, breaking into banks, you name it. They were blamed for breaking into the banks last night, but I didn't hear the news say that they were at fault for all of the violence. I did not hear the news say that, but I did see them on camera in the Black Bloc garb running into a Chase bank and breaking into some other banks also. But the anonymous group has even condemned the Black Bloc. So the Black Bloc is extremely chaotic, I guess we could say. They are a chaotic group, and the anonymous even claims that the Black Bloc does more bad than good. Some say that the Black Bloc, though, is a scapegoat for the protesters, being that it's a way for them to act violently through the concealment of looking like they're part of the Black Bloc, when actuality, they're protesters, and it's an interesting tactic. And I assume it would not be hard to investigate. Many conservatives I know blame the left to an extent, as do I, for the protests, because the left, those people that were there who opposed the speaker, so much so that they had to protest him even being there and deny his right to free speech for the sake of theirs, you know, you can blame them because they didn't leave. They could have left when the violence erupted. They could have left when they noticed that the Black Bloc was causing more harm than good. And they should have known that their speech was causing more harm than good. I mean, why are they so threatened by hearing a Republican speak? Why is it such an issue for a conservative to express his opinions in a blue state on a college campus? In college campuses, if you haven't been aware of this, which most of my viewers are aware of this, college campuses are notoriously breeding grounds for liberal ideas and liberal beliefs. I was part of it. I joined the Model United Nations. I was exposed to liberal beliefs by nearly all of my professors, not all of them. Like I said, nearly all of them. Anyway, Trump fired back to the university as the university tried to blame Black Bloc. There was so much that the university could have done to mitigate the violence there. We have a tweet from Trump, which we're going to pull up for you here. Trump says, if UC Berkeley does not allow free speech and practices violence on innocent people with a different point of view, no federal funds. We can take that away. So Trump's got a great point. More than half of their funding is from federal funding. So who do they think they are, as in the security for the university? We're not even talking about the protesters at this point, but the security for the university. And the state police, by only, I think they only arrested one person, and by really holding basically almost virtually no one accountable for the vandalization and of the campus, and over $100,000 worth of damages. They didn't hold anybody accountable. Now, where do they get off thinking that they won't be held accountable for that as state forces and as school security forces? So Trump says, well, they better figure out a way to take care of it for future reference. And he even started to wonder if they should receive their federal funds, as they do not respect the federal administration enough to respect the first constitutional right, which is the freedom of expression. So like I said, placing the blame, it would be easy to figure out the connections between who is involved, to see if there are people who are disguising themselves as being part of the Black Bloc, who are really just college students in order to get away with stuff. We could find out the ties easily. And how do we do that? Tracking them. We'll track their communications between people from the Berkeley protests. Step one. These are my own steps. It's easy to figure out. 1, we track communications between people from Berkeley protests. 2, we identify select members from all party there, the left, the right, the Black Bloc, etc. Then 3, we investigate select members and study the connection with the Black Bloc and other anarchist groups that may have been there. Or, like Trump suggests, we can penalize the university by cutting federal funding and incentivize them, which would incentivize them, hopefully, to resolve the issue within their university so that it doesn't have to make the federal news again. Because I'm tired of seeing these protests make the news. We have bigger issues to deal with that are out of our control, so why are we creating problems? The Milo, the Breitbart editor, he's been known to say some contentious remarks, but that's freedom of speech. He's not acting violently against anyone. He's not causing anyone harm. He's simply stating his beliefs. And let me tell you, he is a very intelligent man. He knows what it's like to be discriminated against. He's a homosexual male. He's from the UK, so he's a foreigner in the US. So he's been discriminated against as a foreigner in the US. He's been discriminated against as being a homosexual male. And he claims himself as a libertarian, So he's very far right. And he knows what being oppressed feels like. He really does. And he even expressed that in England, they don't have a First Amendment to protect their freedom of expression. So if you say something and the government decides it's offensive, and we're not talking if you burn down stuff and damage stuff, because of course that's going to be, you're going to be held accountable for that. But even if you say something, you know, who knows what could happen depending on the administration. But here in America, in this great country, thank goodness we have that First Amendment, because it is amazing. So with the advancement of tracking technologies and infinite databases, there's a way to find people who were involved in all parties of the protest and to deduce from there if the Black Bloc and the protesters were kind of joining forces, if the protesters were trying to stop the Black Bloc in any way, and just any kind of information we want to get is available to us by tracking communications through mobile devices, through smartphones. I mean, we can literally see the conversations that took place via text, of course, or trace the recorded phone calls easily. And why don't we do that? You know, and what reminded me of it is my friend talking to me about the show Hunted. He said that people go on the run and they're always tracked and they're always caught, virtually almost always. So I know that it's capable. We see it on TV. We've seen it in real life. It was revealed through the Snowden, you know, whole polemic that, you know, it was going on in the feds, that the NSA was actually tracking communications, so we know it's possible. So anyway, what do I think about the protest personally? Well, I've been expressing my views throughout the show, obviously, but from my heart, I believe that those Americans that were there at the protest, those who did act violent, and those who did participate in violent acts, that they displayed devolution, regression, barbarism, you name it. The speaker at Berkeley was scared for his life. I'm so disappointed about what happened in my country. Compromise, cooperation, and hard work will bring us peace and a more prosperous nation, not violence. Now, I don't know what it takes for someone to realize, oh, things are getting out of hand, I need to leave. But obviously, that wasn't made apparent, or that didn't come to the minds of all the students who remained at the protest when things got violent at Berkeley last week. Let's go over a few tweets, because we've recently had some terrorist attacks increase. As I was stating, attacks are increasing throughout the world globally, even in the West. We had the Louvre terrorist attack last week, and we had the Quebec attack. The French Prime Minister speaks on the Louvre attack. And French Prime Minister is Bernard Cazeneuve. I'm not saying his name in French, but you know. Anyway, so he says that the machete attack at the Louvre was clearly a terrorist attack. The assailant that was shot by a soldier shouted Allahu Akbar, which is an Islamic phrase meaning Allah is great. So evidently it was done in the name of Allah. It was done in the name of God. Well, at least from the Muslim perspective of what they believe that God is. Donald Trump said, going back to the tweets, pull those up right quick. Get tired on Fridays. A new radical Islamic terrorist has just attacked the Louvre in Paris, and tourists were locked down. France on edge again. Get smart, US. I've been talking for at least a year now, since the former Paris attacks, where there were several hostages. I can't remember how many, 60 some, and that was terrible. And I've been talking since then, I know, about how we need to step up our military game, and about how we need to step up our hard power and stop always going with these diplomatic addresses saying that we're going to do something when we actually don't. It's time to take some action, and that's what Trump wants to do. Get smart, US. And then Francois Hollande, I do know enough French to know what he's saying here. He says he salutes the courage and determination shown by the military this afternoon at the Louvre, and this was on the day of the attack. And he with great dismay, he, has remorse over the 6 deaths and the others injured at the mosque in Quebec, which goes to show that there are attacks happening closer to home. We can remove those pictures. Justin Trudeau, Canadian leader, he acknowledged that this was a terrorist attack on Canadian soil as well. So France, US, and Canada, we all have a common consensus that this terrorism is not letting up. We're out of time for now. I hope you all have enjoyed the week and enjoyed discussing the issues, and that you have learned and that you're encouraged to research and be independent political thinkers. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Katy Sissine Show, and I look very much forward to seeing you next week. Remember to follow me at Katy FYNTV.